All right, Evan Lazar down in Foxborough. The Patriots beginning their preparations for the Raiders who come to town this Sunday. Evan, I know you want to talk about the defense, the Patriots this year, and certainly some problems among the front seven. But on the back end, there's some concern in Patriots Nation with Stephon Gilmore. Is any of that warranted?
I don't think so. Against DK Metcalf, he gives up the one catch. He had Metcalf the rest of the game and held him to 3 catches for 38 yards outside the big bomb. And I think against a player like Metcalf, that's what's going to happen, right? It's going to be one play that's going to beat you, and that's sort of the play that you have to protect against. And Gilmore was right all over him. In week 1 against Miami, they incorporated a lot more split zone coverages, cover 2, things like that. And a lot of those balls came in front of Gilmore. When you're playing cover 3 bail, for example, and you give up a little stop route along the sideline 8 yards in front of you, that's sort of what the defense is giving the offense, and you kind of live with those plays to limit the big ones down the field. So I think some of it's been game plan, some of it's been scheme. Obviously, some of it was just DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson playing out of their minds. Gilmore's got to be better at the catch point. He's got to be better playing the ball in the air, and I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you that. But in terms of him being in position to make plays, I think he's still right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously both things are important. We saw for years prior to Gilmore's arrival a guy like Malcolm Butler who was in place a lot but had a really difficult time making plays. He probably gave up more contested catches than anyone in memory. So certainly you want that to be something that Gilmore can correct. Any concern here that is something, an issue that could be lingering, or you think it just kind of happened?
Well, it is a little bit concerning. I think that both Devontae Parker in Week 17 of last year carried into this season, and DK Metcalf had some success. Parker had a few catches out against him before he went out of that game in Week 1. So there are some lingering effects being held on there, but I think at the end of the day, you watch Gilmore's technique, you watch his eye discipline, his ability to stay stuck to his man in coverage. It's all still there. Just have to be a little bit better, a little bit sharper at the catch point. I think a lot of Patriots defensive backs after that game on Sunday night would say the same thing. Jason McCourty certainly, Gilmore is up there as well. A lot of those guys just kind of getting beat in that final phase of the catch or of the play, and ultimately that's what decides a lot of things in the NFL if you're a DB, right? It's great when you're draped all over the guy, but if your receiver comes up with the ball against you in the stat sheet, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. Moving on to the front seven, this just appears to be a personnel issue, and I don't know that there's any fixing it unless they go out and specifically address this in some way for a trade. And a lot of people, it's always fashionable to say, let's get a receiver. How about a tight end? But the greatest need on this team is probably some help with that front seven.
Yeah, at linebacker especially.
Right.
Last week against Seattle, Juwan Bentley, 28 snaps in coverage. That was a career high. His Pro Football Focus grade, 29.4 out of 100. Just got obliterated in space by Seattle while dropping into coverage, spying Russell Wilson. And if Bentley is not going to be an impact player there for them at the second level, then they don't have much else there. And I think what they ran into against the Seahawks was that if you're willing to run the football against their lighter boxes, I'm not talking about less players in the box, I'm talking about literally lighter in terms of safeties playing down there, DBs playing in the box at linebacker spots. If you're willing to hand the ball off and test those guys in the run defense and then push them around a little bit, then you get into situations where the Patriots have to put Bentley on there for every single snap. They have to let Brandon Copeland play a little bit and be able to be a guy at the second level that can make some tackles against the run, and then you get vulnerable in coverage. So that's what the Patriots are running into now, is that they don't have linebackers that can do both. This has been a problem for a lot of teams, the Patriots included. In today's day and age in the NFL, if you do not have linebackers and safeties that can cover, teams will find them. They're kind of like, where is Waldo? And the Patriots do the same exact thing on the other side of the ball. You have somebody that at that second level of the defense that can't cover, somebody is going to find them. Yeah,
you're attacking people. Basically, you're game planning against the personnel. I want to follow up one more question on the linebacking issues here, but first I want to tell you about our sponsor, and that's CarShield, America's #1 auto protection company. Call 800-CAR-6000, mention the code BEAT, or visit carshield.com. Use the code BEAT to save 10%. That's carshield.com, code BEAT. Now, you're mentioning the linebackers here. A very fashionable thing that people say is, well, just play the safeties down there more and make them linebackers. And another thing I've heard kicked around is maybe one of the few linebackers back there that is making plays is Chase Winovich. Do you see, one, is there a solution just having the safeties, kind of come in and play linebacker? Or two, can you see moving Winovich around a little bit and see if you can use his playmaking ability in a more creative way?
Yeah, I think Winovich should probably stay on the line of scrimmage because right now he's been the only guy that's consistently gotten after the quarterback, So I think that's a big spot for him there. Kyle Duggar, who we're going to talk about in another video as well, certainly is one of those guys that I think packs a little bit more punch than maybe an Adrian Phillips does. He can come downhill with that missile explosiveness and really shoot himself out of a cannon into run gaps and into offensive linemen to blow up plays like we saw a few times against Seattle. But the guys that they're really going to have to hope come along here are the rookies, Josh Uche and Freddie Jennings. Obviously, Uche hasn't been active for a game yet. He's been dealing with some injuries. Belichick said this morning, once he gets back on the practice field in game plan situations, Wednesday through Friday in a game week, they'll be able to get him out there on Sunday. That's who they're going to have to hope that by Halloween, Thanksgiving time, one of those rookies starts to really emerge and be a playmaker for this defense. Because right now they're kind of they're lacking playmakers certainly at the first level a little bit, but I would say definitely at the second level, and it's going to have to come down to those two guys.
Right, and you mentioned Uche. He's a guy who several people were probably most excited about as an immediate impact type player. Even more so than Duggar, who, as you mentioned, we're going to talk about a little bit more coming up. But that's somebody you definitely want to see, and it's a shame that he's missed this many opportunities to kind of get in because, as the Patriots normally do, treating the first 4 games almost as a preseason, trying to get everybody acclimated before you kind of hit that second gear. Without the benefit of a true preseason and coming in behind, it could be a long time before someone like him might be able to make an impact. So you hope to see him on the field sooner rather than later. As we said, we're going to have much more coverage throughout the week and throughout the day. So keep it here on our YouTube channel. Of course, our sponsor again is CarShield. Call 800-CAR-6000, mention the code BEAT, or visit carshield.com. Use the code BEAT to save 10%. Evan Lazar, thanks a lot.